The ticket is in your wallet, behind your insurance card, and it is worth $450 million, and you are currently restocking paper towels at the store where you work. It's been 6 days. 6 days since you stood in your kitchen at 11:40 at night with your phone in one hand and the ticket in the other, checking the numbers for the 4th time, because the first 3 times couldn't be right. 6 days since you sat down on your kitchen floor, not fell, sat, slowly, like your legs made an executive decision, and stared at the oven door for a length of time you cannot account for. And then you did the thing that separates your story from every other story like it. You didn't scream. You didn't call anyone. You put the ticket back in your wallet, drank a glass of water, and went to bed. You didn't sleep, obviously, but you went to bed. Because somewhere in that hour on the kitchen floor, a memory surfaced. A news story you half-watched years ago about a guy in West Virginia who won big, and how by the end of it he'd said, you remember the exact quote, that he wished he'd torn the ticket up. You spent that first night doing something no lottery winner in the movies ever does. Research. 3 a.m., face lit blue, reading everything. The winners who went bankrupt in 5 years, the kidnapping cases, the lawsuits from coworkers claiming they'd always played together, the brother who sued a winner over a verbal promise nobody could prove, the woman whose own son was part of a plot to rob her. Story after story with the same shape. The money didn't destroy them. The announcement did. The moment everyone knew, that was the explosion. The money was just the fuse. And your state, you learn at 4:15 a.m., is one of the few that allows winners to remain anonymous. Delaware. You have lived your whole unremarkable life in Delaware, and for the first time ever, that is the most important fact about you. So you make the decision before sunrise, staring at the ceiling. Nobody finds out. Not yet. Maybe not ever. And then, this is the part that would sound insane to anyone you told, which is another reason you tell no one. You get up at 6:30 and go to work. Because here's what the research made clear. The ticket doesn't expire for a year. There is no rush. The only thing rushing is the feeling in your chest, and the feeling in your chest is exactly the thing that ruins people. Every disaster story started with someone moving fast, so you will be the winner who moves slow. Day 2, you nearly break at lunch. Your coworker Denise is in the break room doing what everyone does when a jackpot rolls over, talking about what she'd do with it. Pay off her sister's house. Quit before the end of the shift, I'm not kidding. She asks what you'd do, and you have to perform a thing you've never rehearsed, being a person to whom this is hypothetical. You say something about a boat. You've never wanted a boat. It's the first thing that isn't the truth. Denise laughs and says you'd sink it. Everyone goes back to lunch. You eat your sandwich next to a woman you genuinely like, holding a secret the size of the building, and you learn lesson 1 of your new life. The weight isn't in the keeping. The weight is in the pretending. That night you start a habit you'll keep for years. A notebook, plain spiral, hidden in your sock drawer like a teenager. In it you write the things you can't say to anyone, the fears, the plans, the running list of everything you almost said out loud that day. It's the only place on earth where you get to be the person you actually are now. Page 1 says, in your handwriting, slightly shaky, "Don't get weird." It becomes the whole Constitution. Week 2, you hire the team. And you do it the careful way, the way the 4 a.m. research taught you. Not a local guy whose cousin knows your cousin, a law firm 2 states away that has handled anonymous claims before. You pay the consultation with a money order. The lawyer, a calm woman named Patricia, who has seen this movie before, tells you 3 things that reorganize your brain. 1. Sign the ticket now, put it in the safe deposit box, and stop carrying it around in your wallet like an insane person. You do not tell her it's currently behind your insurance card. You just nod. 2. They will form a trust to claim the prize, so even the paperwork never wears your name. 3. And she says this slower than the rest. The money is the easy part. We can protect the money. The hard part is that you will become a different person to everyone who finds out. Not might, will. The day they know is the last day you're just you. Take that seriously, because it cannot be undone. You take the lump sum through the trust. After the reduction in taxes, Roughly $130 million lands where no one can see it. You look at the number on a statement in Patricia's office, and it is so far past comprehension that it circles back around to abstract. 130 million. Your rent is 940. And now begins the strangest year of your life. The year of the two lives. You keep the job. Not forever, you're not a martyr, but for now, because the research had a name for winners who quit the next morning. Identified. You restock shelves worth $11 million a shelf, hypothetically, and you find, to your genuine confusion, that some part of the job is different now. Softer. Your manager, Kurt, writes you up for a late clock-in, and it simply does not land. Kurt's whole authority runs on a fear you no longer produce. You watch him talk, this man who controls your schedule and nothing else, and you feel something almost like affection. Kurt has no idea he is disciplining a 9-figure trust. The money starts working before you spend a dime of it on anything visible. Patricia's people set it up plainly, the way you insisted. You read enough at 4 a.m. to distrust anything exciting. Even parked conservatively, the portfolio generates more in interest in one ordinary Tuesday than your salary pays in a year. You do that math once, on a napkin, and then throw the napkin away in a trash can outside a gas station like it's evidence. Here's what you learn you can do, and it becomes the whole point. Your mother's roof. 14 years old, patched twice, one storm from a real problem. She can't afford it. You've heard her not say so on the phone for 2 years. So a contractor calls her, a legitimate one, paid quietly through 3 layers she'll never trace, and tells her she's been selected for a neighborhood improvement grant program. Full roof replacement. It takes her a week of suspicious questions before she accepts. She calls you after, giddy, saying, "Baby, you won't believe what happened." And you stand in your kitchen where it all started and let her tell you the whole story, and you say, "Mom, that's incredible." And it is. It is incredible. You made it up, and it's still incredible. Your best friend Marcus, drowning in a truck loan at 21% because of a bad divorce year. The debt gets bought and forgiven through a program that does not exist. Your niece's college fund appears via a scholarship with a name Patricia's paralegal invented on a Thursday. You become a fake charitable infrastructure with a workforce of 1, and it is, and you'd never say this out loud, the most fun you have ever had. Rich people talk about giving back. Nobody told you the real luxury tier, giving anonymously, watching the joy from 3 feet away, and getting hugged by people who have no idea it was you. But tell the truth about the cost, too, because there is one, and it grows. Thanksgiving. Your family around the table, and your uncle is holding court about the economy, about how the game is rigged and nobody can get ahead, and your mother mentions her miracle roof again, and your cousin is quietly stressed about a $1,200 transmission, and you are sitting there with $130 million, passing the green beans. You could end every money problem at this table before the pie. The transmission is a rounding error of a rounding error, and you can't, because you've run the simulation 100 times, and it always ends the same way. The moment they know, this table changes forever. The jokes change. The asks begin. The uncle's theories get a villain with your face. Somebody's feelings get hurt over who got what, and Thanksgiving becomes a shareholders meeting. So you pass the green beans. And you slip your cousin $800 a few weeks later. Found money, work bonus, don't worry about it. Which is the most your old self could plausibly give, because your gifts now have to be costumed as your old life. That's the sentence nobody warns winners about. You have to keep being who you were, at the exact size you were, indefinitely, on purpose. There's one near miss you still think about. Month 7, a Friday. You'd had 2 beers at Marcus's place, watching a game, and he was talking about money the way tired men do, half joking, all serious, saying if he ever got 10 grand ahead, he'd feel like a king. And the sentence rose up in you like a sneeze. Marcus, I have to tell you something. It got as far as your teeth. You actually opened your mouth. And what stopped you wasn't discipline. It was his kid, walking through the living room in dinosaur pajamas to say goodnight. And you thought about everything that walks through the door with the truth. The lawyers, the whispers, the article someone eventually writes, the way this couch would stop being a couch and start being the poor seat in a rich man's orbit. You closed your mouth. You said, "Nothing, man. Refill?" 2 beers is now your limit, forever. The secret has a proof, like liquor, and you respect it. And there's the question with no good answer, dating. You meet someone, Rachel, funny, sharp, a nurse, splits the check on principle. 4 months in, it's real enough that the secret starts to feel like lying, because at some point it is lying. Patricia, when you finally ask her, awkwardly, hypothetically, doesn't laugh. She says she's had this conversation with clients before, and the honest version is this. There is no perfect moment, only a decision about what you want to be loved as first. You're still deciding. Rachel thinks you're careful with money. Rachel has no idea how right she is. Month 9. The scare happens. A guy from the claims process, some clerk somewhere in the chain of people who processed the trust's paperwork, apparently talks. Not about you by name. He doesn't know your name. That was the whole architecture. But a local news station runs a story. The anonymous Delaware winner claimed the prize through a trust, and the trust's filing lists a law firm, and for about 72 hours, there are reporters calling that firm and a Reddit thread trying to solve you like a puzzle. You read the thread at 2 a.m. You shouldn't. Patricia told you not to. You do anyway. And someone has narrowed the ticket sale down to your county. Your county. Somebody replies with a list of gas stations. One of them is yours. For 3 days, you go to work with your heart doing something new and unpleasant. You watch every customer who lingers. A man in a parked sedan outside the store turns out to be waiting for his wife, and you know that, and you still memorize his plate. And then, nothing. The thread moves on to a new mystery. The news cycle eats itself. The reporters stop calling Patricia's firm. The wall holds, exactly the way it was built to, and you learn the last lesson of the year. The system worked, but you will never again read the comments. Anonymity isn't a wall you build once. It's a wall you decide, every single day, not to put a window in. 11 months in, you finally quit the store. Gently. A story about a job opportunity out of state, which is even technically true. The trust owns things out of state now. Denise hugs you. Kurt shakes your hand and says he always saw potential in you, and you thank him with a completely straight face, and it's the finest acting of your career. You move, 1 town over. You buy a house with the trust. Nice, not headline nice. 4 bedrooms, good porch. The kind of house a guy who got a decent out-of-state job might stretch for. You drive a new Honda. You take your mom to Italy. Credit card points, ma. Use them or lose them. And watch her cry in front of a cathedral and film it on your phone, and that video is worth more than the ticket was. It's been 4 years now. The number has grown to something you check quarterly and absorb like weather. Almost no one knows. Patricia, an accountant. That's the entire list. Not your mother, not Marcus. Some nights that's heavy, genuinely heavy, a secret with no one to set it down in front of. And you've accepted that the heaviness is the price, the way back pain was the price of the old job. Every life charges rent somewhere. But most nights it's this. You, on the good porch, phone buzzing with a photo from Marcus, his kid, gap-toothed, holding a fish. Debt-free man, though he thinks a bank glitched in his favor. Your mom's dry, warm house 4 miles away. A stack of small, anonymous miracles scheduled for next year, like other people's scheduled dentist appointments. Somewhere tonight, a jackpot is rolling over again, and a break room somewhere is full of people saying what they do. Quit before end of shift. Buy the boat. You know now what almost none of them would believe. The winning wasn't the night the numbers matched. The winning was every single day after, that stayed exactly, perfectly ordinary, because you were the only one who knew it didn't have to be.